Hey there, Tiffany Thomas with WealthyTiffany.com, and in today's video we're going to be talking about getting a $1,000 check from the government. Maybe you guys have heard about this. There's been quite a few articles that are talking about a check that could be coming to Americans from the government. And maybe you're curious if you're going to get a $1,000 check or not, because I know I was, so I decided to do some research about this. And if you're ready to hear my findings about this $1,000 check, then click that like button and we're going to dive right in. All right, you guys, I have researched a ton of different articles about whether or not Americans are going to receive a check, possibly a $1,000 check, from the US federal government. Because as I am sure you know, because it's probably affected you, the economy is really in a downturn right now. And there is so many different things going on. There's so many different shutdowns or closures, and restaurants are being forced to close their restaurants or do only a drive-up or pick-up order. And actually, before all of the restaurant closures, my roommates and I went to dinner one night. We went and had Indian food, and we were honestly the only people in the restaurant. And unfortunately, the restaurant owner had to send home all of his employees, so he was the only person there. He took our order and he went back and cooked the food, brought it out to us. So there are just so many crazy things happening in the world right now. People have lost their jobs because of this or been forced to cut back their hours, which is lowering their income or completely getting rid of their income, which is really scary. And along with all of these shutdowns and closures, the stock market has plummeted. It has taken a huge dip, and who knows what's going to happen in the future. And talking about not knowing what's going to happen in the future, Utah just experienced an earthquake of 5.7 magnitude, and I experienced that earthquake, and it was one of the scariest things that I have experienced. It woke me up right out of bed, and at first I thought, did someone crash into my house? And then I realized, no, it's an earthquake, and it's not stopping. The whole ground is shaking, and I got out of bed and grabbed my pillow and didn't really know what to do. And luckily it lasted maybe about 15 seconds or so, but it felt like at least 5 minutes. And luckily my home wasn't damaged or any of my rental properties. There were just a few things that had fallen off some shelves, and all of my friends and family are safe. So I feel really blessed because nothing super bad had happened, but it's just kind of a wake-up call that you never know what can happen in the world, whether it is a natural disaster or some type of disease. We just never know, so we really need to be prepared. And during times like this, people spend less money, of course, because they either don't have the money to spend or they just spend on necessities. They're not buying extra things. They're not spending their money on extracurricular activities because there aren't a lot of them that they can actually do right now. But they're just, trying to be wise and save that money, which in turn starts to bring the economy down, and it starts a recession. And if the recession continues, then it could eventually turn into a depression. And the government doesn't want that. They don't want this recession to turn into a depression. So they want to provide people with money to spend. So what if they did actually give people money to spend, a literal $1,000 check? And has this been done before? It has actually been done twice before, once in 2008 and once in 2001. So we know it is possible. And would that actually boost the economy? Would it help to send a $1,000 check to Americans? Well, it depends. If people are too afraid to spend that money, to spend that $1,000 check, then they may just put it in their savings and hold on to it. But there may be people that need to pay their rent or buy their groceries, so they would be spending that money, which would in turn give a boost to the economy and hopefully pull us out of a recession. So you guys, tell me in the comments below, if you did receive a $1,000 check, would you put that money into savings or would you actually be spending that money? I'm curious to know, so comment below. But that's essentially why the government is considering sending out a $1,000 check to Americans, so that they could boost that economy and we could stop the economic downturn. Now, how will they go about sending out a check to every American? Most likely they would look at tax returns that have been filed the previous year and take a look at the income, and those that are below a certain income level, perhaps it's going to be $65,000, they would receive that $1,000 check. And because you filed your tax returns with the government, you may have given them your bank account number to get a direct deposit if you were getting a refund. So there could be that option of doing a direct deposit to those that did have a bank account on file, or it could just be a check that is mailed to you if you didn't do a direct deposit. And there's even talk about it being more than $1,000. So there might be a check that comes in April for $1,000 and then another check that comes in May for another $1,000. So a total of $2,000. And then there's also talk about possibly sending an extra $500 for those that have children. But the more research I do on sending out a $1,000 check to Americans, a lot of people seem to think that it is more likely that it will happen than not happening. So I find that really fascinating, and where we've already seen it twice before, I think there is a possibility that it could happen, but I'm not 100% sure. So I want to know what you guys think. Comment below and tell me, yes, you think we will get a check, or no, you think we won't get a check. And talking about getting a check for $1,000 would be pretty awesome for most people. I want you guys to remember this, that you want to have your money in order. You want to be managing your money properly and investing it the best you can right now, because you never know what can happen in the world. We've seen so much craziness lately, and I feel like it may get worse before it gets better. So you really need to be focusing on managing your finances as best as possible, making sure you have your debts paid off, you have your emergency fund, and that you're investing your money. And continuing to educate yourself on better ways to manage your money. And this is part of the reason that I pursued financial freedom at a young age, so that I wouldn't be impacted so greatly with any sort of economic downturn or any calamities that might be happening. I really wanted to have my money in order and make sure that I'm taking care of myself, so I'm not going to be a burden on anyone else, and so I can help others as well. I feel like no one saw this coming, and yet here it is. And, you know, having this earthquake in Utah, there's just another proof that you never know what can happen and you never know when it will happen. So it's so important to get your money in order, and that's why I'm sharing this message with you guys, because I really want you to be better off. And the sooner you can take care of your finances, the better off you are going to be. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will really help me out, and we can get this content out to more people. And don't forget to hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you guys are interested, Webull is giving away 2 free stocks. If you set up a free brokerage account, you get 1 free stock. And if you deposit $100, you get a second free stock valued up to $1,400. So I will leave my referral link below, and you can click on that to get your 2 free stocks, and then do whatever you want with your $100 and your 2 free stocks. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.